consecutively.
Wow.
That swat right there, I mean, that's pretty clear.
I think Draymond may be right that he got fouled first, and had they made the call, you can see Nurkic wrapping him up. Should have been a foul call on Nurkic.
Hey guys, welcome to the Clear Path Podcast. Today we have me here, Adeesh, covering all of the Draymond Green incidents and kind of giving you our thoughts, kind of a quick update on everything that's been going on. So first off, the Warriors ended up losing last night by 3 to the Phoenix Suns in heartbreaking fashion maybe, and the Warriors obviously expected Draymond Green to get suspended today, and that announcement came out earlier today. I think everyone is surprised that he got suspended indefinitely, and I don't think anybody kind of saw this specific kind of suspension coming for Draymond Green. So obviously we got the breaking news from Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Golden State Warriors Draymond Green has gotten suspended by the NBA. And then if you look kind of a little bit further into this ESPN article, they talk a little bit more about why he got suspended. And just to kind of summarize this article for you guys, and an article by The Athletic, essentially what they were talking about is that right now Green's suspension is expected to be longer, and the reason it's indefinite also is because of his prior suspension of 5 games earlier this season for choking out Rudy Gobert. And although, I mean, personally, I think that the choking of Rudy Gobert seems a lot worse. I think that in this case, they were just like, we were really tired of how close it's been. If you really think about it, it's only been about 30 days since his last suspension. And I think a big thing that they really are promoting in the league recently is like getting the agent and the player and like Mike Dunleavy or the GM together to kind of talk about the issue and see what's going on. It kind of makes me believe that there's something more to the story, like there's a personal problem he's going through, because this kind of sounds a lot like the Ja Morant situation in terms of like an indefinite suspension and who knows what's going to happen, and he has personal problems that he needs to deal with. And I think the Warriors have also kind of turned the page on his behavior. It seems like before they've been mostly like, hey, we understand like this is part of your game, but also like sometimes it's not really warranted when the league punishes you this hard, specifically if we look at the NBA Finals. But I think more recently it's been clear that Kerr has kind of took a different point of view on Draymond Green, and kind of saying, as you kind of see in the quote here, the fact that we need him and he knows he needs to be here, and that they've talked to him, and that Draymond was wrong. I think that was the most definitive quote I've ever seen from Kerr, kind of telling him during his last suspension that, yeah, he shouldn't have been doing that. And it's really been a tough season for the Warriors because of the suspension, because he was suspended for 5 games. Some people are saying this indefinite suspension is probably going to be at least 10 games, which is definitely going to suck for the Warriors, struggling at 10-13. They play the Clippers tonight, so we'll see how that one goes. But I wanted to take a chance in this video to really kind of display some of Draymond Green's impact on the Warriors and what his impact this season has been. So we can just look at some season statistics right here really fast and see that he's shooting around 43% from 3, obviously not on huge attempts. He's more efficient this year than he usually is in terms of his shooting splits, but he's only been here for 15 games. And remember, the Warriors have played 23. He's gotten ejected from 2 of the games. So really, he hasn't had that big on-court impact that we'd hope for him to have as a Warriors player in general. And if you just kind of scroll through here, you can see that the Warriors' defensive rating with him on the floor this year has been significantly worse, giving up 118 points. But that's also because the starting lineup has really been struggling, and the offensive rating has also dipped a little bit with Draymond Green in him. And his net rating on the floor is minus 6.7. And so I think that shows you kind of the problems with the Warriors' starting lineup encapsulated into one player. Draymond Green hasn't been on the floor enough for the Warriors. He hasn't been playing as much. As you see, his 25.1 minutes is the lowest basically since like he started playing for the Warriors in the NBA. And so that's kind of a big problem for them right now. He's not on the court enough. He's not as efficient in terms of his defense as he used to be. And I think a lot of that can be boiled down to the fact that he does have such a large defensive burden, and he hasn't been able to get comfortable with the Warriors lineup rotations and everything like that, because he's really been in and out. He missed 5 games, then he comes back, plays a couple games, then he goes out again. And then the net rating is definitely partially influenced not only by his play, but I think also the play of Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson, who have definitely not been good here. I mean, you just look at this is the 2023-2024 regular season. You see he was inactive the first 2 games. He played about 6-7 games. Then he had an inactive again. Then he played 3 games. Then he got suspended for like 5 games. Then he plays 3 more games. then a little bit of a break that they had because of the in-season tournament, not making it very far, and then 3 more games, and then now he's probably going to be suspended for the next 10 games. So it's really been kind of a wild ride for Draymond Green. I think earlier in the season we had a lot of momentum going in, but with the Warriors' recent streak of kind of not being able to close games, not being able to close big leads, it's been clear that he's needed in these lineups. He's needed for the defensive prowess he has. We don't really have a big man that is really good on defense. Sarge is great on offense, but Looney has kind of taken a step back this year, and Draymond is kind of the guy we'd put, in that role. But he's not been on the court enough for us to really rely on him. And whenever you get ejected in a game, I think those games I think we've lost both of those games this year, and we really struggle to kind of play a good defense, and I feel like it really takes out some wind from our sails whenever he goes out. I think it'll be interesting to see how the Warriors kind of adapt him this season. I think it will add Kuminga into the starting lineup, which is something that fans, I think, have really wanted over the last couple of weeks, and ever since Kuminga kind of broke out and has been able to score like 20 a game or around 20 points per game, and he's been athletic. I think he still makes some of those rookie mistakes. You see him fouling a little bit too much, but I think Draymond being out really lends itself to Kuminga playing and being able to make mistakes, Moody playing a little bit more and being able to make mistakes. So I think this might be good for the Warriors fans in terms of who gets to play, but I don't think this is good in terms of our winning capabilities, because I think the Warriors might suffer here in terms of the record, and they really need to get back on track, being the 11th seed. And there's a clear difference between them as the 11th seed and the 10th seed, which I believe the Clippers right now. And so I think the Warriors really need to kind of get back on track, and that's probably going to be likely through Steph Curry and hopefully Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson improving a little bit. Another big thing I definitely fear with Draymond Green is he ever going to be able to kind of get back on track here? Is his mental able to be fixed? And I think that's a big reason, I think, for the long suspension that he might have to endure here, is because I think something's off in his personal life, as I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. I think maybe something with his family or something like that. And also maybe some of the slippage from the core. I think he might start to see the end of the core with Klay Thompson kind of playing worse, Andrew Wiggins maybe not having the conditioning we'd like in the offseason. I think he's kind of getting frustrated with his own team. You saw Steph Curry last night in that clip kind of kicking a bench and being really upset. And I think that's a key insight into this team. I think dynasties don't go out in like a small little fire. Usually it's more of like a forest fire, I feel like, and it's probably going to be uncontrollable, and the rage between the players that can still play and those who they feel like they owe something to, like Klay Thompson, it's going to get kind of dicey in Golden State. You have to remember, with this team, we have one of the highest payrolls in the league, and if the team doesn't improve, we're looking at big moves, and it seems like Bob Myers maybe just left at the right time to leave Mike Dunleavy making the hard choices. So if he's suspended 10 games, that takes us like pretty well into January. If he's suspended longer, it could be closer to the trade deadline. And once we get to 40 games, I think Mike Dunleavy will start thinking, okay, half the season's over. Do we have a chance of making the playoffs still? Like reasonably as like a 6-5 seed? You're not going to win the Western Conference as a 10th seed, 9th seed. So if we're sitting in the bottom couple seeds, maybe it's time to make a move for next year. Maybe it's time to trade away Klay Thompson if he's not going to re-sign. Maybe consider what we should do with Draymond if he starts playing better or if he kind of demonstrates a commitment. Obviously, he just signed his new contract, so we wouldn't want to get rid of him. But it's something where the GM is really in a precarious situation, and I think honestly, right now, it's up to Steph and the young players and CP3 to kind of see what can we do with this lineup and how can we improve and get better. But with that in mind, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you learned a little bit more about Draymond Green and kind of our thoughts on it. Please like, comment, tell us what you guys think about the Draymond Green suspension. Was it warranted? Do you think he should get 10 games, 5 games, 12 games? I know some people are saying 20-plus games. Personally, I think probably 10 games is more adequate, but please comment below, like, and subscribe. Thank you for listening.